I just saw a video that said men, if they're not married by the age.
Did you know that married men are not just making more money than...
If you are a stay-at-home mom, you should be receiving a salary from
I saw this TikTok recently. The comments were just so depressing.
Welcome to The Wall. Today we're going to tackle an uncomfortable question. Who benefits more from marriage, men or women? In this video, we'll hear from women who claim that only men gain from getting married. But we'll also take a look at actual data that challenges that narrative and reveals a much more complex reality. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and hit the like button. It's free, but that small gesture helps the channel a lot. Now let's get into it.
I just saw a video that said men, if they're not married by the age of 30, 1 in 3 will become a substance abuser. And that's very interesting. And what kind of sucks is I'm 30 and I like men either my age or a little bit older, which means out of 1 of 3 men, they will be substance abusers, which has been pretty accurate, especially living in Miami.
Did you know that married men are not just making more money than married women, but they are making more money than single men? And I've been seeing this chart floating around for a little bit now, but I've seen it a lot this week where it shows that income goes like this for men who are married, and for everyone else, it stays down here. And it's so interesting because I actually saw this preacher, I think it was, at one of those like mega churches, get up on stage and say, the reason married men make so much money is because they have to. It's because they have to feed their family, and it's because they have to provide. And so there's this pressure on them to do that. When in reality, what we know is that the reason men are able to do this oftentimes is because they have handed off all of the unpaid labor required to manage a home and live your life to a partner. They have handed off laundry, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids. All of that has been handed to someone else. And it hasn't been explicit. It's not like men simply say like, here, honey, this is all yours now. But over time, especially because our society essentially says that like women are the default caregivers, these things slowly pile up for women and men get to relieve themselves of this other work. I think a good example of this is when I travel for work, it requires a lot of coordination. I am the default parent in our house. And so I'm doing bus drop off. I am doing school pickup. I am doing after school activities. I'm packing lunches. I'm doing laundry, like all of these things. And when I travel for work, my husband has to pick all those things up. He has to do all those things. We have to coordinate people to drop the kids off at the bus. Like all that stuff has to be coordinated. When my husband works long hours or travels for work, nothing really changes except for the fact that my evenings are more chaotic because that's typically when he'd be home. And whenever we talk about women's unpaid labor, the work that they're doing at home, people will say, sure, they do more unpaid labor at home, but men do more paid labor. But what we ignore is that men are able to do this because they have that person at home, right? And this isn't just with kids either. This happens for men who are just simply married, right? All they have to do is get married and then they offload work. And when women marry men, they gain work. I think it's about an hour of work that they gain simply because they are married to a man. When in theory, if they're both sharing things in an equitable way, that wouldn't happen. And so men aren't earning more when they are fathers or when they're married simply because they fall into this role of provider. They're earning more because they've been able to offload a lot of that other work to someone else.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
If you are a stay-at-home mom, you should be receiving a salary from your husband.
Why? Because if two people are married and one is working and one is not, in this case, the man is working, that means he is paying for everything in the household, to include the mortgage / the rent, the bills, the insurance, and everything that goes along with being an adult. So why does the wife, in this case, who doesn't work, need to get a salary from the husband?
If you are a stay-at-home mom, otherwise known as a non-compensated working mom, and you are married to a man...
You know, I've always wondered, what about women that are married to other women and one of them works? Does the one who is working have to pay the non-working woman a salary in that situation as well? Or is this only a man-woman kind of thing?
Your husband, the compensated partner, should be paying for the uncompensated labor. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of pissed off men in the comments.
No, I'm just confused. Why exactly would a spouse expect to get paid for doing the work that a person, if they were single, would be doing all on their own with no reimbursement? This doesn't make any sense to me.
Try to replace you. Try to replace a stay-at-home mom. You're going to be paying for a chauffeur, a chef, a nanny, a project manager for the house. In fact, recent data has shown that stay-at-home moms, non-compensated working parents, if you had to pay them a salary, it would be at least $175,000.
This really doesn't make any sense, and it seems a bit one-sided because you notice how you never hear this conversation coming up in same-sex relationships? It's only men and women. Why is that?
So if you are a non-compensated working mom, if you are a stay-at-home mom, you deserve a salary from your husband. I said it.
Sure. Right. So let me ask a question. What about single parents? And that includes single fathers. Are they going to get paid for all of the work that they do that goes uncompensated for, that is just expected of them on a daily basis? And who's going to pay for that? I mean, seriously, people are expecting to get paid for things that are just part of being an adult.
I saw this TikTok recently. The comments were just so depressing, but they were saying like, women, what have you not said out loud about marriage? And one woman said, his life will be better when you get married. Yours won't. And it was this conversation about, you're going to do everything you do for yourself, and now you're going to have to do it for somebody else too, and the kids. And I'm like, man, it really matters who you decide to do life with, right? And how they view partnership and marriage and you as a woman and your ambitions and your goals and the role they play in that, and that you don't do that on your own. You do that as a team.
Stop it. Get some help.
You've probably heard the saying, data kills the narrative. So let me give you an interesting one. An income distribution analysis from the current population survey estimates that about 23.1% of workers earn $100,000 or more. Around 42.3 million workers are men between the ages of 35 and 44, and about 15% of them are single. Now think about these single men making six figures. At what point exactly did a woman improve their lives? Also, I have to ask, should women married to athletes, lesbians, or those with housekeepers also get a check for unpaid labor? Why does this narrative only apply to heterosexual couples? Do lesbians not clean? Do gay couples not clean either? According to this argument, it seems like those people never do anything at home. The real issue here isn't housework, it's resentment. A lot of women can't stand the idea of their husbands growing, succeeding, and advancing while they themselves feel left behind. And yes, brothers, many of them end up resenting the man who gave them a comfortable, stable, and protected life. After everything he provides, all that's really expected is that she takes care of what was built for her. That's it.
Who really benefits from marriage? Because from where I'm sitting as a divorce lawyer, it's not always the women. I was talking to a pharmacist friend the other day, and she said something that really stuck out. She said, "Do you know who I dispense the most antidepressants to? Wealthy married women. Not single moms, not struggling 20-somethings, married women with picture-perfect lives and matching Range Rovers. The women who, on paper, have it all. Because when men get married, they live longer. Their income increases. Their home life becomes more stable. But women, statistically, we take on more housework, more emotional labor, more of the invisible load that slowly eats away at us. And somehow we're expected to be grateful just to have a ring. Marriage was never built for equality. It was built for security, land, labor, lineage. And in many ways, the blueprint hasn't changed. Women are still taught to center marriage like it's the end goal, while men are taught to pursue it once they're established. So what happens? Women build men. Nurture them, forgive them, stay loyal through potential, and by the time he's ready, she's depleted. And if she speaks up, she's nagging. If she stops trying, she's cold. If she wants more, she's ungrateful. Marriage works best when both people benefit, but we've created a system where the bar is on the floor for men, and women are doing the emotional gymnastics of trying to make it work anyway. So before you chase the wedding, ask yourself, will this structure nourish you or slowly drain you? Because a ring should never come at the cost of your peace, and if the price of being a wife is getting antidepressants, maybe he's the one who's getting a better deal, not you.
Starting over as a single mother is difficult, but it's not impossible. See, I've had to start over twice. The first time after my 14-year marriage to the father of my children ended, and I almost immediately got into another relationship. And after 3.5 years, that relationship ended as well. And both times I moved out of the home. I moved out of the home that I had created with these men and moved into my own home, my own space. And it's difficult. It's difficult to pay the bills. I suffer with anxiety. I struggle making sure that my children have everything that they absolutely need. But the peace that I feel in my own home, not having to walk on eggshells, not constantly have to worry about someone else's emotions, is worth the difficulty, is worth the stress just to have that peace. It's totally worth it to start over.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
So many women that are married are not happy because they got married because they thought they had to, because women have to get married, and they never actually considered that they themselves might not be happy in a marriage. For me to be married, it's going to take a very certain type of person, and I've always known this. That's why I've always gone for the men that worship the ground that I walk on, princess treatment. Like, to other people, yeah, to you they might be a simp, but to me, I know that is the only way I'm going to survive in a marriage. I am not going to be stuck in a marriage where my partner hates me. We have normalized that way too much. We've normalized men talking to you however they want because they've had a bad day, acting as if they have no home training, throwing their shoes everywhere, not knowing where to put the toothpaste, not knowing how to do single piece of shopping. I've always known that if I was stuck in a marriage with a man like that, it was never going to work. So I've literally never even looked towards those type of men. I'm not interested in you. I know we won't work out. I know our marriage will not work out. So I am not even interested in pursuing a dating relationship with you. That's why I've only ever dated men that are like, have common sense, are good guys. And when I mean good guys, I'm not saying in terms of just personality, but like, I need someone that has a stable job. I'm not dating someone that's doing all of this stuff that can land them in jail, because once again, I don't want to raise children with someone who's not here. So I don't even put myself in a position to date somebody like that, because if you go to jail, I'm very vocal about the fact that I won't wait. Really think about whether or not marriage is for you. Not because society is telling you to get married, but because you actually want to get married. Because I'm telling you, so many people in marriages these days are struggling. It's clear they hate their lives. They don't know why they did that. And it's all because we are so male-centered sometimes that we don't actually stop to think, what do we want? Do I want to be married? Again, I will only have children with a certain type of man. And only when I'm ready. I'm sorry, I've met people that wanted to have babies way before, and I have always politely declined. I'm not interested. I'm having a baby when I am ready, so that if it does go to hell, then I know that at least I did things in my own time and I was ready. And if I'm never ready, then I'm never ready. But I'm not just having a baby with somebody because I'm happy in the moment.
Let's get into it. Let's talk about why marriage benefits men more than women. I would also encourage you to go look this up, because I'm just going to focus on one factor, but there's actually a lot. On average, married men make 10 to 24% more than unmarried men. Why do we suppose that is? Because they have their wife at home doing all of the unpaid emotional and domestic labor, which allows them to focus, work harder, and work longer. Now, let's assume that the wife also has a career, because that's how most households are nowadays. So you have both the husband and the wife working outside the home, but only one of them is doing the vast majority of the domestic labor. And it ain't the husband. So the wife is working all day and then coming home and working more. What does this lead to? Depression? Anxiety? Stress? That's a significant amount of pressure. And what's the result of all of this? The result is the ultimate benefit. Married men live longer than single men, but married women do not live longer than single women. Being a married woman cuts your life expectancy short.
Example of data kills the narrative. Adult women in the U.S. are significantly more likely than men to receive mental health treatment, including therapy and psychiatric medication. In 2020, about 25.6% of women received some form of mental health treatment in the past 12 months, compared to just 14.6% of men. That includes both therapy and the use of psychiatric medication. But that's not all. Evidence shows that being married is usually associated with fewer symptoms of depression than being single or unmarried. From 2015 to 2018, antidepressant use was higher among divorced or separated adults, 20.5%, than among married adults, 12.3%. Across all marital categories, women had higher rates than men. Additionally, 15.3% of women between the ages of 25 and 35 took medication for depression, compared to 7.4% of men in the same age group. So what do these numbers actually tell us? That single women tend to experience more loneliness, that many women who've hit the wall rely more on therapy, and that marriage doesn't just benefit men, it also provides emotional stability for women. That's why we see so many women channeling their maternal instincts into pets or progressive political causes. Where single women are overrepresented, and often openly express their emotional frustration after years of pouring their motherly energy. Women want the bears, and we want you to subscribe and help us hit 1,000 likes on this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion in the comments. It's important to us. Alright then, let's get back to the video.
Okay, so I'm not trying to be a feminist or anything, but I'm gonna say this loud and clear. It might offend and trigger some people, but I don't care. So let me say this, right? Marriage mostly benefits the man. I don't care what anybody says, but I'm gonna explain why I say this, right? I'm gonna explain. Hear me out. So, number one, a wife will do everything that your mother did for you as a child, like cook for you, clean for you, turns your home into a house, and on top of that, she bears children for you. She literally gives you life. She gives you a family, right? Keep that in mind. So what I'm saying is basically the only differences between your mother and your wife is that you sleep with your wife. As simple as that, right? Okay. Reason number two. So every woman loses part of herself when she becomes a wife. Okay? And she loses even more of herself when she becomes a mother. A mother of one, a mother of two, a mother of three. Okay? Alright? It takes a lot of work to not lose yourself. Like, I'm not even joking. It takes a lot of work. Like, the mental strength, the courage. You need a lot of support from your partner, especially if your partner is not a God-fearing man and he doesn't respect women and he doesn't, stand by your side, especially during, your labor and then after your labor, after you guys had kids. If he's not there beside you, I'm telling you, you're gonna lose yourself. Like, you're gonna lose yourself, like, absolutely. Okay? And this is like something that needs to be like spoken about, because ሴት ልጅ ሚስት መሆን ምን እንትን ይላታል፣ ባል ነው የሚያስተዳድራት፣ ባል ነው እንደዚህ የሚያደርግላ ምናምን። bro, men's nowadays, they don't provide, they don't take care of their women's, ትዳር ብቻ like ተጋባን ለመባል ነው የሚጋባው አብዛኛው ሰው ማለት ነው። they do actually not know, absolutely have no idea like how hard marriage is. Like, it's no joke. It's no joke. It's two people coming together to build life. You know what I'm saying? Two different people that grew up differently. They have like different upbringing, and then they come in together to like united and be one and create a family. So it's not easy. It's not a joke. And then most of the time, it's the woman that has to do like almost everything in the marriage. You know what I'm saying? Like, has to be the mother, the wife, and the one that's taking care of everybody. It's just mentally, it's draining, and most people don't realize that.
She's partially right, but a relationship works because both people contribute. It's no coincidence that households where both parents stay together tend to raise kids who are more likely to succeed. There are two adults invested in their well-being. Reducing it all to housework ignores the fact that men are sacrificing their bodies, their time, and often their health to provide for the household. And it's that very effort that allows them to grow and advance in their careers. That's something nobody talks about. Most men pay for work with their health, chronic stress, and a shorter life expectancy. While many women focus on white-collar jobs, men are still taking on the hardest and most dangerous roles. And the presence of a father is crucial, especially when there are sons in the house. Boys without a strong male figure often go down the wrong path. Valuing the female role doesn't mean we should ignore the male role, and it definitely doesn't mean turning marriage into a transactional relationship where helping your own family is treated like a paid job. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. If marriage and family provide emotional stability and better outcomes for kids, why is it being portrayed today as a burden instead of a shared responsibility? If both adults benefit from each other's sacrifices, when did helping your own family become something that should be treated like a paid job? If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Your support means a lot to us and keeps us motivated to create more content. Stay tuned for the next video from the wall.